adultery, for instance, right? God says, "Thou shalt not commit adultery." You heard that before? What is adultery?
Like cheating.
Yeah, when a man or a wife sleeping outside of that relationship, right? So, right? Now, to you and me, right? Does that make sense to do to cheat on your spouse?
No.
It doesn't. So why do you think people do it?
Romans chapter 6 and verse 23. For the wages of sin is death.
So we just read the wages of sin is death. Not only dying in this physical body, but the second death. Read.
But the gift of God is eternal life.
So you mean to tell me that you'd rather burn in the lake of fire forever or live forever? Live forever, never get sick. Rule this whole earth.
Let them know.
You'd rather give all that up because you don't want to stop shaving your head. Is that what you're telling me?
I think it is, yeah.
Wow.
But also, I appreciate you guys. I'm not gonna waste
check
more
this out.
time. Okay. Because I appreciate you.
So, what good is appreciating what's going to happen? Or what am I saying if you're not going to take heed to what is going to happen?
That part.
For you, obviously nothing, I guess.
Go to Proverbs 3 and verse 5.
Bring it out, God.
You gotta understand, when us growing up, because not all these men right here, we didn't grow up keeping the commandments. We didn't grow up understanding this Bible, right? The way that we think today was taught to us by the world. The world did not teach you how you're supposed to even think and how you're supposed to move. You might, because what you keep on talking about is your feelings and your emotions. That's why when he went to Jeremiah 17 and verse 9, he said the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Our feelings, that's what we have to fight against. That goes against God, and that's what we have in our spirit have to fight against. So that feeling that you have is not something that we're supposed to be living by. God did not create us to go based off our feelings or what the Bible calls our flesh. That's what we're supposed to be resisting. We have to replace our feelings and doing whatever we feel like doing with what God said. That's the issue that God always had with us. So those feelings is not validation on how you're supposed to move. Because your feelings is what caused us, our feelings is what caused us to go against God, and God chastised us. What God requires from us is discipline. This is how you discipline yourself. Read that.
Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 5. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart.
So don't trust in your feelings and your emotions, because your feelings and your emotions is going to tell you the opposite. That's exactly what it is. Your feelings and your emotion go oppose God. That's why God said, what are we supposed to trust in?
Trust in the Lord with all thine heart.
So when God says something, that's what we have to trust in. Even though we might have a little shakiness or feeling we might not understand, he said trust him. That's faith. That's where faith comes in. That's why he says you have to have faith. You have to have faith in his word and what he said, because he created us. You didn't create yourself. You didn't create this earth. You didn't create your mind, thought processes. You didn't create. God created you and me, and he knows his creation. That's why he said, trust in me. I gave you these commandments. It's your manual on how you're supposed to live. Trust in my words and what?
And lean not unto thine own understanding.
That's what he told us to do, not to lean upon our own understanding. Why? Because he knows that because of sin is going to cause us to go away. And those feelings and emotions that we get is going to cause us to go away from doing his commandments.
Right.
Because for instance, right? Do you think adultery, for instance, right? God says, thou shalt not commit adultery. You heard that before? What is adultery?
Like cheating.
Yeah, when a man or a wife sleeping outside of that relationship, right? So, right? Now, to you and me, right? Does that make sense to do to cheat on your spouse?
No.
It doesn't. So why do you think people do it?
So you're saying because of their heart, their emotion?
Because their feelings that they get, that's why they do it. It's that sin. We all have sin in us. That feelings and that emotion that wants to please this flesh.
Right.
Give me James chapter 1 and verse 13. God warned us about that. That's what we do. That's not what we're taught. They don't teach us that in the church. They don't teach us that in the educational system, how our body works, how our spirit works with our flesh. We're not supposed to move based off our flesh. We're supposed to move based upon the Spirit of God, His Word. Right. By us keeping His commandments, that's how we get His Spirit. Right. Because His Spirit are in His commandments. How God moves, how He wants, what He accepts, it's within these commandments. He gives us that so we can be one with Him and we're one with Christ. Read that, James 1:13.
James chapter 1 and verse 13. Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God.
That temptation is those feelings to want to go against God's commandments, like shave your head or shave your beard. Why do you want to shave? Why would you want to shave your head and beard? Why? Is it because you just want to be able to do what you want to do?
For that, yes, but that's not, it's not because I want to do that I don't follow the way of God.
No, but why would you want to, right? Because you have the fear.
Because I don't have a relationship with God like that yet.
No. I'm talking about personally. I'm
saying me. Because I don't have a relationship with God. I'm not following the commandments.
Before you even know what we were talking about, right? Why do you shave, and why do you shave your head, and why do you shave your beard? Why do you shave?
Because it's just something I do.
Why? But why?
Because I wanted to do it.
Okay, why do you? Yeah, so what's the reason? Is there a reason behind why you want? Do you think you look better shaving your head? Do you have like a receding hairline or what?
It just feels good.
You feel good when it feels good. Okay, but all right.
Yeah.
So that's it, right? This is what the Bible says about the evil and things of that nature. We all have feelings and emotions that go against God's commandments. Everyone that you see up here.
We all sin.
Yeah, we all have that. We all have those feelings to want to sin. We're not saying that's gonna go away, but you have to have the discipline
to sin less and less.
To sin less and less, and to stop doing it though. That's what God requires, because we don't.
Yeah, I get that.
We don't have discipline. Right? Read that again. This is what we don't have discipline in.
Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil.
Because we make excuses why. God does not tempt us, right? There's temptations, or there's feelings, and there's emotions, there's that sinful nature that we have within us that want to go contrary against God's commandments. That's what we have within us. Read.
Neither tempted he any man.
But God is fair. He doesn't tempt you. He's not gonna tempt you and be like, I'm gonna push this button. I'm gonna push this button in him to make him sin. He doesn't do that. This is what happens. Read.
But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust.
You're drawn away after your own lust because you want to have some type of control. Want to be able to do what you want, right? Because us men naturally want to do what we want to do. But God has stipulations, for instance, right? Can you do whatever you want to do here in America?
No.
Without consequence.
But because we're a flesh, we have to do based off of our own, our own capabilities.
Stick with me with this, right?
Wait, I gotta go though.
I got you. But in America, can we do whatever we want?
Yes.
We can. All right.
Yeah.
Now, if you do whatever you want, there's repercussions though for it, right? God just works the same way. God, when He created this earth with rules and regulations, right? For instance, right? Can I just go up? You have a house or an apartment? Can I just go up in your house and apartment and do whatever I want?
I mean, you could.
I could, but there's repercussions, right? Because if I respected you, right? I would adhere to what you tell me to do in your apartment, right? That's the same thing with God. He created this earth, He created us. Why don't we have that same respect for God to do what He tells us to do? It's not like it's going to harm us. God's not going to give us commandments to do that harms us.
No.
It's all to benefit us.
Right.
But when we see those commandments, because of those lusts, that lust that entices us, we make some type of excuse in our mind to be like, nah, man, I don't want to do that, God. I want to do that because it's our lust. But all it is, no, I created this earth. I'm just telling you, while you on my earth, I want y'all to move like this. I don't want you doing this on my earth. I didn't create this earth for you to be able to do this. But us as men, we go after our flesh instead of after God. That's that hatred. That's that disrespect, because if someone did that to you, you feel disrespected. You feel some type of way. How do you think that God feels?
Bring it out.
God feels the same way, so God has feelings toward us too. And when we go against His commandments, like the brother was saying, when He gives us commandments and we don't do it, God feels disrespected. He hates that thing. Because first of all, He chose you to be one of His chosen people. He gave us the task when He chose our nation to be the ones that rule and guide the rest of the world. He gave you a renowned task, a renowned name. To be called an Israelite, to be a name, the son of Israel, is to be, what's the name for Israel, right? A prince that has power with God.
Right.
That's a high calling.
That's right.
So when God calls you to be the leader, the ruler of this earth, say, I don't want to do what you tell me to do. How do you think He would feel about that?
He would want to give you repercussions.
That's disrespectful. Why would I do anything? Why would I allow you into my kingdom? You can't even respect me for the things I tell you to do. You see that? Read. I'm gonna read.
I gotta go though.
We're gonna finish and you can go. Right? Hey, my sister.
Then when lust hath conceived, it bringeth forth sin. And sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death. Then when lust hath conceived,
when that emotion overtakes your mind and you want to go and actually commit that sin, like shave your head off or shave your beard off,
it bringeth forth sin.
that's when you bring forth sin. That's when you bring forth that hatred toward God. Read.
And sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death.
And when it's finished, it brings forth death. So while I'm dealing with you, it's not a waste of time, right? Because there's going to be a day of judgment. You're going to have to present yourself. If you don't get yourself right now, right, you're going to be presented for the Lord. And this account that's happening to you right now is you're going to be in the judgment seat, and the Lord's going to be like, I told you to do this. After they told you, based off the words of that, they read you of my word.
What is a nation? Nation is men leading by example.